Enter at your own peril and ask the bolted doors where impossible things may happen that the world's never seen before. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of One Piece Chapter 1060, titled Luffy's Dream. Just wanted to show you guys the actual full intro for the Afro channel. That is the full intro, the extended cut. What you usually see at the beginning of every video is the short version. That's just like probably 30 seconds long, something like that. But that is the full extended version of the Afro intro. Anyways, let us hop right in because this chapter was hot, as every chapter has been hot recently. One Piece 1060. Can you believe we're at 1060 already? Which is titled Luffy's Dream. All right. One Piece Chapter 1060, Luffy's Dream. Let's take a look at this chapter. So, there is no cover story this week, which is very interesting. As for the notes, Oda says, Eck Out Green's live show. I was moved by their use of my illustration. Man, they've sure got some great tunes. Honestly, I love the humility that he says illustration instead of being like, yo, that's my manga. But I think that's cool. But glad you enjoyed the show, Oda. So in lieu of a cover page, we have a full spread. This is actually a updated version of the bonus coloring page from Volume 8 with all 10 members, and I think it's flipping awesome because we have all of the Straw Hats, and most of them dressed like gang members, and there is a polar bear skin rug on the floor that says "We Stand for Liberty," and it has a cigarette in one nose. I think that's super amazing. Anyways, so we start off on the ocean with the Straw Hats, and in the sides here we can actually see like Sea King's giant looks like crocodiles that are moving towards the ship. Anyways, Luffy says, no way in hell, this is a lie. He'd never kill Vivi's dad, talking about Sabo and the news that Sabo killed King Cobra. So pretty much Luffy is raging and saying Sabo would never do this. Everyone is pretty much just agreeing with him. And so Luffy says, set course for Arabasta right now. So Luffy is so mad that he wants to turn around and go back on their journey just to save their friends. And I love Zoro here. Like this chapter is once again evidence for why I say Zoro should be the captain. Because Zoro keep a calm head and he's just like, bro, what good is that gonna do? King Cobra's dead and Vivi was last seen at Marijois. And then Luffy's like, then let's go there. So Luffy's just like we need to go like help Sabo like right now. And of course, what's interesting? Excuse me. What's interesting is that we see Caribou inside his barrel, um, and kind of freaking out about where they're trying to decide to go, um, because apparently he has plans for where they need to go, and apparently he needs them to keep going on their way to the One Piece. Um, so, anyways, Starheads are kind of all talking and freaking out about Vivi and everything. And Chopper, oh Chopper, Vivi's dad is dead, but he was so nice even to us pirates. Um, Usopp said, "Yeah, he was the best king around." And Nami is torn between worrying about Vivi and worrying about how she's taking all of it. Um, Jinbei says, "Seems like this year's reverie was quite tumultuous." So Frankie is talking about Sabo, said, "Is that the guy we met in Dressrosa?" And Brooke says, "I've never known anyone to be discontent with the way Arabasta was ruled." Although Brooke is, of course, from a different time, back when Arabasta was ruled peacefully. Um, so then Luffy's like, Luffy still wants to go, or Luffy, Chopper, and Nami still want to go save Vivi. And Zoro just straight up is like, all of you knock it off. Luffy, remember what you said about Ace that one time? And Luffy remembers himself saying Ace has his own adventures. You trusted him to make his own way up until the point where he actually needed help. So why underestimate Vivi? She can hold her own. If the opportunity presents itself, then we can pitch in then. But in the meantime, have faith and quit belly aching. And so everyone kind of jumps on Zoro's back, not literally, but figuratively, and starts calling him starts calling him names. Ooh, um, you're an You're an Onigashima, a Green Kaido, a Green Mom, Sanji says, "Crappy moss head," and Zoro pops back with, "Shut it, fourth." Hey, we got Trix the Anime Hater in the chat. Very nice to see you, Trix. Hope you've enjoyed the most recent chapter of One Piece, or you are enjoying it if you're just hearing about it now. So Robin is pretty much reading the paper, and she's pretty much giving out all this information. She's like, things are escalating fast. There are a lot of developments while we're in Wano. Cross Guild was founded. Buggy became an emperor. And again, Luffy says there has to be some mix-up. And Robin says, there are other familiar names in here. Would you like to hear the news about them too? And Luffy's like, nah, leave it up to you. Just tell me if there's anything big to keep an eye on. Robin says, okay, I'll do that. I wouldn't want to overload you with information, which is funny because I think Oda is kind of putting himself into Robin here. And he's making the joke, the big joke, that these last couple of chapters he's just overloaded us with information, and he's doing a pinky to the side, wink wink, of saying, yeah, I've been giving you way too much information recently. So anyways, Luffy's still raging. He's like, Sabo's innocent. He had a real strict upbringing. He just wants to make sure no one else has their freedoms taken the way he did. And so we flash back to Luffy's youth, and Sabo says, I want to see the world and write a book about it. And Luffy laughs and says, okay, my turn. I'm gonna. But he stops right before he reveals what his dream is. And says, the three of us swore an oath to him. Swore an oath, me, him, and Ace. And I said I'd, and another cut off before he says it. And apparently he tells the crew what his secondary dream is besides being king of the pirates. But the reader we aren't told anything. Like, the name of the chapter is Luffy's dream, but the big the big drop here is we don't actually find out what Luffy's dream is. So the Straw Hats all react um to what Luffy says, and even the Thousand Sunny, even the spirit of the Thousand Sunny is like, what? um but the crew all reacts here, and I'm surprised that even Zoro is reacting here, because Zoro has been on the journey with Luffy like the longest, and even Zoro is just like, what? um so Luffy uh tells them what he actually wants at the end of his dream, and they're all like, well, you will definitely have to become the king of the pirates to achieve that. Like, there is no way you could get that otherwise. And so I'm sure tons of people are going to start theorizing, going to start guessing what Luffy's dream is. I don't want to know. I don't want to know until Oda finally reveals to us what his secondary dream actually is. I mean, what kind of a dream is so big that it is bigger than becoming king of the pirates, that you would have to become king of the pirates to achieve that dream? I don't know what it would be besides like uniting the world or something like that. Uniting pirates and marines or something like that. Um anyways, and that, I mean, that wouldn't have been a dream that a young Luffy would have thought of anyway, having not really run into many marines as a kid. But so yeah. Luffy's like, haven't I ever told you guys this before? And they're like, no. And he's like, okay, that means I only told Shanks, Ace, Sabo, and I guess that's it. So Shanks is really like family of Luffy, because Luffy is um Shanks is the only person outside of Luffy's brotherhood that knows what his actual dream is. Um, but he said, that's what I want at the end of my dream. Uh, Jinbei laughs and says, well, I joined this crew willingly, so I can't exactly say it's not my problem. I sure picked a troublesome captain. Chopper thinks it's awesome, and Nami says it sure sounds like you. And that has to be the most endearing face I've ever seen from Nami. Um, Nami says it sure sounds like you. I mean, the closest we've ever really known to what Luffy's secondary dream is when he beats Kaido. He says, I want to live in a world where my friends can eat as much as they want, which might have just been a reference to what Kaido was doing on Wano. But who knows? Maybe his dream is to feed the entire world with giant slabs of meat or something like that. Um, So Frankie says, since you got to be the Pirate King to make that possible, we better find the last lode poneglyph. Then it's off to Laugh Tale. You, Robin says, you make it sound so easy, Frankie. It's been a long time since that poneglyph was last seen. We don't even have a clue on where to look. Um. Okay, so that is the first part of the chapter. Already some big stuff going on. And that isn't even the biggest part of this chapter. So, uh, checking out the comments really quick. Trick says Zoro being the strong-minded one, yeah, and that's again why I definitely think he should be captain. Um. Anyways, now we move on to, as you knew in I think it was 2 chapters ago. Um, Sabo is giving a report to the Revolutionary Army after having escaped from Maryjois, and um, he is what is it? And the Marines are picking up his transmission. They're trying to figure out where it is coming from. Um, and they finally figure out he is in a place called Lulusha Kingdom. Um, Lulusha. They say Lulusha really now. Um, and then we hear from the person we've only known as Emu. And Emu is this shadow figure that is the only person who's ever sat on the empty throne. And just for context here, the empty throne in One Piece represents the fact that no one person can hold the power to be king of the world. Um, and this guy, this character, is claiming that power, saying that he is the absolute authority, that he is the king of the world. Um, that's above the Marines, above the world nobles, above the Gorosei, the five elders, stuff like that. And all we know is his name is Emu, and he's just kind of a shadow figure. So um, it seems like he only talks through like either a transponder snail or some kind of walkie-talkie or a robotic voice or something. But he says that's one of the 8 nations that rebelled a few days ago. It would be an ideal place for Sabo to seek refuge. Uh, he says, I see he's an unlucky man. No, this is fate. And what I don't get is why would Sabo go to an island that was obvious? Like, it's obvious that like he would be there. And I'm wondering if the girls are saying he's unlucky or saying that um he planned this, or I don't know. Anyways, back in the Kamabaka Queendom, they're talking to Sabo, and Sabo reveals to Dragon, he says, I wasn't the one who killed King Cobra. Okay, we know that, but here's the question now. Who killed King Cobra then? Um so he says, we knew you were innocent, or they say, we knew you were innocent, Sabo-kun. Sabo says, listen, when I was in Maryjois, I saw something unbelievable. Now we switch over to Lulusha Kingdom, where Sabo is reporting from, and all of a sudden the sky over Lulusha Kingdom starts getting dark. We find out that the king and princess have been captured, supposedly by the Revolutionary Army. Who knows? But anyways, they are locked up, and Sabo. We see the figure of Emu, this shadow figure, kind of just standing there with his crazed eyes. And Sabo saying, it happened in the throne room at Pangea Castle. Uh, and someone says, cut the signal of the surveillance division's transponder snails. What? And on a map, Lulusha Island is crossed out. And Sabo says, I thought that there was no king of the world, but the empty throne wasn't empty. I saw. And then his transmission cuts out. And Emu says, as far as the surveillance division is concerned, no one detected anything abnormal today. No information was intercepted. As for Lelusha, that country never existed. And as he says this, a bright light comes from the heavens above Lelusha Kingdom. A whole bunch of lasers rain down, and it destroys the entire kingdom. So Sabo is now presumed to be dead. Um, he's a devil fruit user who can't swim, and the entire kingdom that he was on was just completely destroyed. Um, And so this is the lengths. The world government, to keep their secrets, is willing to delete islands out off the world, to completely erase islands, um, which is absolutely insane. And it really says something about the true power that the world government has had. Like, honestly, I don't know about before the 2 year time skip, but I mean, it straight up proves if they wanted to, they could have wiped out Whitebeard, Blackbeard, pretty much anybody that couldn't make a protective shield around themselves. They could have wiped out anybody they wanted at any time. Um, which is absolutely crazy. But they O'Hara'd the island. They straight up O'Hara'd the island. They erased its existence from history. Um, so so then they go back to business as usual. We have reports of sea quakes off the southeastern shore. Please beware of tsunamis. Um, although one little hope thing is, it says Sabakun with like Ziz sounds. So there's a possibility that the Den Mushi that he was holding is still active, and if that's active, then Sabo might still be alive. Then we switch to a few days later aboard the Thousand Sunny. Um, Possibly due to what has happened, uh, all of a sudden the Straw Hats are in the middle of a winter storm on the ocean. Um, and Jinbei calls back, "Furl the sails, the wind's too strong." Asks Nami if we're close to making land, and Nami says it feels like we've entered an island's climate zone, and says, "Guess the next one's a winter island." Inside the ship, Chopper puts on a big hat that Tama gave her to keep or to shield her from the rain and snow. And Robin says, "Don't you look dashing?" And Chopper heads out on deck. Um, Luffy says, "What in the world is that?" And a giant swirling, like, if you could describe the opposite of a whirlpool, it would be the opposite of a whirlpool. A giant swirling like ball on a column of water comes up out of the ocean and is just there. And so yeah, there's a column of water coming up out of the ocean, and Nami says it's a mass of warm water. It's being forced up at this point from somewhere, which means that if it's hot water, then an explosion has gone off underwater, or a volcano has erupted underwater, or something, some big heat source has brought this up. And I love it because Brooke says, "Ooh, it looks like an afro," and I was like, "That's for me. That's straight up for me." Um, Anyways, they say rapid temperature change is dangerous, and Luffy says somebody's trapped in the water. Sanji says, "I can definitely hear a lady in distress," and they're like, "What are we gonna do?" Zoro says, "I'll cut it," and he proceeds to use one sword style to cut water in half. You heard it here, folks. Zoro cut water in half. Don't know how that happened. Anyways. So yeah. Chopper comes out, he's like, "What's all the commotion? Amigasa Hat Chopper here, reporting for duty." And the wind immediately picks up Chopper and starts blowing him away. So Luffy grabs Chopper, but the wind's still too strong, and Luffy starts getting blown away as well. Um, they start floating towards this water eddy, and all of a sudden, a girl comes out of it. A a child, and it turns out to be Jewelry Bonnie, um, who, as you know, is her devil fruit power is she's able to change her age at will. She can turn from a child, a young girl, into a woman whenever she wants, a full-grown woman whenever she wants, and she is currently a child. But yes, this is one of the worst generation, the glutton, Jewelry Bonnie, um, whose current bounty is 320 million berries. It's been I when I first read that, I almost read it as 320 billion berries, and I was like, wow, she's an emperor. But that no, it's a million, and it's weird nowadays to see a bounty lower than a billion, especially on like some of the most important people. Um, and so it says a chance meeting, but she's small, and that is the end of the chapter. So let's discuss here. Crazy stuff happening in this chapter. Luffy reveals his dream to the crew. Sabo apparently dies, and an entire island is deleted by the world government to keep their secrets. And Jewelry Bonnie returns, the least likely character. Jewelry Bonnie returns in a giant water spout. Really interesting stuff. Looking at the chat, and Rick says could be a setup that Sabo had in mind. That is true. Oh, Luffy sharing the One Piece. Yeah, no, for real. Could be a well. Oh, you're saying his dream could be that he wants to share the One Piece. Interesting. That's an interesting thought. It is a dream where you would have to become king of the pirates to do that dream, and sharing the One Piece with all his friends would be a thing that young Luffy would think of. That's a really good theory, Trix. Nice job on that. Could be a setup that Sabo has in mind. That's true, but it definitely backfired. Oh, he saw him on the throne. Yes, Sabo did see Emu on the throne. God Valley may have been erased the same way. Hold. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. An unknown number was calling. So we'll just leave that. Anyways. But yes. God Valley may have been erased the same way. God Valley was erased. I was not aware of that, but yes, we do know though that O'Hara was erased by a Buster call, because the whole thing with Robin knowing what a Buster call was at Ennie's lobby was that her island was destroyed by a Buster call. And this was not a Buster call. This was a direct strike from the heavens, from above. And anyways, so very, very interesting theories. Trick says Sengoku said God Valley was on the map, but it can't be found. Okay. Well, if it's on the map, it can't be found. It might be another crossed out island. Anyways, big things happening. I want to propose a theory here. And this is a big theory, and you may not agree with me, but Enel is coming back to the story. Some way, somehow, Anaru is coming back. There have been so many signs, so many big signs that Anaru is coming back, that I can no longer ignore them. starting off with during the Wano arc, the fight between Kaido and Luffy was very similar. Just as Luffy fell off of Giant Jack when fighting Eneru, Luffy fell into the ocean when fighting Kaido. What was it? Luffy grabbing lightning and throwing it down. Luffy being immune to Big Mom's lightning, and that being a reference to fighting Eneru. And then finally at the end, the final punch came from Luffy literally making a big fist, like his fist was big at the because of the gold ball at the end of what is it, the Skypia arc, and hitting the enemy. And while he didn't ring a bell, he sure rung Kaido's bell. Anyways, but there's that. And then on top of all of this, when they leave Wano, they go off of a waterfall. Just like how in Skypia, they went off of the edge of the cloud and fell down into the ocean. Then there is the fact that lasers from heaven destroyed an island, just like Eneru was planning on destroying what was it? Well, I mean Skypia, really, but I think it was Upper Yard. Eneru was planning on destroying Upper Yard at the end of the Skypia arc with, what was it? A giant electricity from heaven. Pretty much a laser from heaven. And then on top of all this, they had a current that was flowing upwards, exactly like the knockup stream. That's at least 5 to 6 references that pretty much one-to-one mirror the Skypia arc. So, if Eneru does not come back, I will be frankly very surprised, because Oda has put in 5, 6, nearly 7 hints and references back to the Skypia arc. And I have no idea why, but I just feel like Eneru is going to come back at some point. If it is revealed that Eneru is the guy, is the guy sitting on the throne, I'll be surprised, but I also won't be surprised. But I mean, whoever this Emu guy is, I really want to find out who he is, and he's just creepy. Like, he has red eyes, but they're the same shape, or the design in his eyes is the same shape as Hawkeye Mihawk's. So he has red eyes. Hawkeye Mihawk has yellow eyes. If we're doing a traffic light, somebody's got to have weird green eyes. And who knows who that is. But anyways, yeah. It raises the question, is Hawkeye related to Emu? Who knows? And at first, when I was reading the chapter, just because I'm also a Naruto fan, I thought Emu's eyes were purple, just because I was like, oh, they look like the Rinnegan eye. But no, in the recolor, and we know when Oda does the recolors, the artist renderings at the end of a chapter for something big, he redraws those pages by hand. So any of those pages that he redraws by hand can technically be counted as canon, because Oda redraws them himself. And so it, although this may change, because so in the recolor, Emu's eyes are red, but also in the recolor of when Luffy became Sun God Nika, transformed into Gear 5th, in the recolor, Luffy's hair was yellow. His clothes were regular, but his hair was yellow, kind of like a Super Saiyan. But in the next chapter, while he's fighting Kaido in this form, in the black and white manga part, Oda says a pure white transformation. And that is where people started getting the idea that his hair was white in this transformation. And now pop culture has made it so that it is now canon that Luffy's hair in Gear 5th is white. But in the original recolor, when he first got to Gear 5th, Oda colored his hair yellow in Gear 5th, which is very interesting. So, in this recolor, Imu's eyes are red, but that may change because we don't know what is actually going to happen. Oh, we got a new guy in the chat. This is crazy. Hello, Andy Cantarero. So just looking back at the chat here, Trix the Anime Hater says, I've been waiting for my favorite boy to come back. Definitely. His return will be 1,000 out of 10. For sure. A new guy in the chat, Andy Cantarero, says, you mean Enner? And yes, that's who I'm talking about. Although his name is pronounced in Japanese, Eneru. And he says, well, thanks a lot, because I'm trying to prove my point since the last chapter. The blow from YM is exactly like Eneru's Raigo on Celestial Islands. Maybe Eneru's working for him. I don't know, but it could be. Very cool, man. I would definitely like to get into a talk with you about theories about One Piece if you're definitely doing that, and I'd love to watch your stuff. Trick says, time for Kami to shine. Yes. But yeah. If that laser beam ends up being Eneru working for the world government, it'd be interesting, but I mean, it wouldn't exactly be a surprising thing considering that pirates are teaming up now. The Marines are the Marines have always been teamed up, but the pirates are teaming up now, and they're putting bounties on the Marines. To have a former guy like Eneru join the world government, especially since he thought he was so high and mighty already, and especially because his whole plan was to get to a higher plane of existence. He wanted to reach the moon, or fairy Verth, as he called it. And so if Eneru found an opportunity to become not just king of Skypiea, but king of the entire world, I feel like he would take it. But yeah, that would be very, very interesting to see. So glad we got a new person hopping in the chat today. That was very, very cool. Andy here says, honestly, at first I thought Eneru was the SSG. SSG Super Shadow Guy, or Secret Shadow Guy. Yeah, could be. A massive destructive weapon, for sure. For sure. Trick says the throne would fill his ego. It definitely would fill his ego. Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. Definitely keep watching my stuff. Keep checking into the live stream. So happy that we got Andy, you in here, a new person in the chat. That's really what I've been wanting to happen. Get some discussion going about One Piece. But I will be back doing a live stream and an edited video on Tuesday. You can check that out. That is Anime Legends. And next week, I don't think we're on break, so we will be talking about One Piece 1061 next week. Anyways, that's all for today, and this will is to be continued on the next piece of One Piece.